Something powerful happens when a child of God seeks to know more about Him and His beloved Son. Nowhere are those truths taught more clearly and powerfully than in the Book of Mormon.
God always provides safety for the soul, and with the Book of Mormon, He has again done that in our time. Remember this declaration by Jesus Himself: "Whoso treasureth up my word shall not be deceived. And in the last days, neither your heart nor your faith will fail you."
Chapter 57. Helaman recounts the taking of Antiparah and the surrender and later the defense of Cumeni. His Ammonite striplings fight valiantly. All are wounded, but none are slain. Good reports the slaying and the escape of the Lamanite prisoners about 63 BC. And it came to pass that I received an epistle from Ammon, the king, stating that if I would deliver up those prisoners of war whom we had taken, that he would deliver up the city of Antiparah unto us. But I sent an epistle unto the king, that we were sure our forces were sufficient to take the city of Antiparah by our force. And by delivering up the prisoners for that city, we should suppose ourselves unwise, and that we would only deliver up our prisoners on exchange. And Ammon refused mine epistle, for he would not exchange prisoners. Therefore, we began to make preparations to go against the city of Antiparah. But the people of Antiparah did leave the city, and fled to the other cities which they had possession of, to fortify them, and thus the city of Antiparah fell into our hands. And thus ended the 28th year of the reign of the judges. And it came to pass in the commencement of the 29th year, we received a supply of provisions, and also an addition to our army from the land of Zarahemla, and from the land round about, to the number of 6,000 men, besides 60 of the sons of the Ammonites, who had come to join their brethren. So now there's 60 more of these little boys. They might be offended if I call them little boys, these younger boys who had come to join their brethren, my little band of 2,000. So now there's 2,000 plus 60 of the little ones, and then there's 6,000 that just were added to them of the adult men. And now behold, we were strong, yea, and we had also plenty of provisions brought unto us. It's interesting, because if we look at this and think of why they're going to win, I'll tell you why they're going to win. This goes back to chapter 56 also. It's kind of the two chapters, because it's the same battle with the same boys, stripling warriors. In chapter 56, verse 5, we know they're going to win because they chose Helaman to lead them. Helaman is a humble, courageous, valiant man of God. In chapter 56, verse 27 and 29, it also shows that they had good support. And that's where we learn about their mothers and fathers loving them and supporting them, and their dads bringing them provisions, so we know they have support. In chapter 56, verse 47 and 48, they had faith, not fear, and they were anchored in the words of their mothers and the testimonies of their mothers. They knew their mothers knew it. They did not doubt. Their mothers knew it. And then in this chapter now, 57, verse 25, we will read that they are protected by the goodness of God. So that is why we know they will win. And it came to pass that it was our desire to wage a battle with the army which was placed to protect the city Cumeni. And now, behold, I will show unto you that we soon accomplished our desire, yea, with our strong force, or with a part of our strong force, we did surround by night the city Cumeni a little before they were to receive a supply of provisions. And it came to pass that we did camp round about the city for many nights. But we did sleep upon our swords and keep guards, that the Lamanites could not come upon us by night and slay us, which they attempted many times. But as many times as they attempted this, their blood was spilt. At length their provisions did arrive, and they were about to enter the city by night. And we, instead of being Lamanites, were Nephites. Therefore, we did take them and their provisions. And notwithstanding the Lamanites being cut off from their support after this manner, they were still determined to maintain the city. Therefore, it became expedient that we should take those provisions and send them to Judea, and our prisoners to the land of Zarahemla. And it came to pass that not many days had passed away before the Lamanites began to lose all hopes of succor. Therefore they yielded up the city unto our hands. And thus we had accomplished our designs in obtaining the city Cumeni. But it came to pass that our prisoners were so numerous that notwithstanding the enormity of our numbers, we were obliged to employ all our force to keep them or to put them to death. For behold, they would break out in great numbers, and would fight with stones and with clubs, or whatsoever thing they could get into their hands, insomuch that we did slay upwards of 2,000 of them after they had surrendered themselves prisoners of war. Therefore it became expedient for us that we should put an end to their lives, or guard them, sword in hand, down to the land of Zarahemla, and also our provisions were not any more than sufficient for our own people, notwithstanding that which we had taken from the Lamanites. And now, in those critical circumstances, it became a very serious matter to determine concerning these prisoners of war. Nevertheless, we did resolve to send them down to the land of Zarahemla. Therefore, we selected a part of our men and gave them charge over our prisoners to go down to the land of Zarahemla. But it came to pass that on the morrow they did return. And now, behold, we did not inquire of them concerning the prisoners, for behold, the Lamanites were upon us. And they returned in season to save us from falling into their hands. For behold, Ammon had sent to their support a new supply of provisions and also a numerous army of men. And it came to pass that those men whom we sent with the prisoners did arrive in season to check them, as they were about to overpower us. But behold, my little band of 6,060 fought most desperately. Yea, they were firm before the Lamanites. Oh, isn't that a good word? Firm. They were firm, stalwart, courageous, bold. I love that word. They were firm before the Lamanites and did administer death unto all those who opposed them. And as the remainder of our army were about to give way before the Lamanites, behold, those 2,060 were firm and undaunted. Yea, and they did obey and observe to perform every word of command with exactness. Do we even understand how important that phrase is? They did obey and observe to perform every word of command with exactness. That's the key. That's the key for us too. Yea, and even according to their faith, it was done unto them. And I did remember the words which they said unto me that their mothers had taught them. And now behold, it was these my sons and those men who had been selected to convey the prisoners to whom we owe this great victory. For it was they who did beat the Lamanites, therefore they were driven back to the city of Manti. And we retained our city Cumeni, and were not all destroyed by the sword. Nevertheless, we had suffered great loss. And it came to pass that after the Lamanites had fled, I immediately gave orders that my men who had been wounded should be taken from among the dead, and caused that their wounds should be dressed. And it came to pass that there were 200 out of my 2,060 who had fainted because of the loss of blood. Nevertheless, according to the goodness of God, and to our great astonishment, and also to the joy of our whole army, there was not one soul of them who did perish. So all were wounded. And neither was there one soul among them who had not received many wounds. And now their preservation was astonishing to our whole army, that they should be spared, while there was 1,000 of our brethren who were slain. And we do justly ascribe to the miraculous power. And we do justly ascribe it to the miraculous power of God, because of their exceeding faith in that which they had been taught to believe, that there was a just God, and whosoever did not doubt that they should be preserved by his marvelous power. So it talks about how there were 200 out of my 2,060 who had fainted because of the loss of blood. And he shows that they were all wounded. Not one soul of them did perish. But I love that the wounded are helping the wounded. And if you think about that, that is such a beautiful parallel to repentance. and to realizing that everybody needs repentance. Everybody around us, ourselves, everybody that we know relies wholly upon the atonement of Jesus Christ for grace, for mercy. Now this was the faith of these of whom I have spoken. They are young and their minds are firm, and they do put their trust in God continually. Guys, all of these verses, their minds are firm. They do put their trust in God continually. If we could be like these young boys, our whole entire, our world, our lives, everything, this earth would be completely transformed, completely. And now it came to pass that after we had thus taken care of our wounded men and had buried our dead, and also the dead of the Lamanites, who were many, behold, we did inquire of Gid concerning the prisoners whom they had started to go down to the land of Zarahemla with. Now Gid was the chief captain over the band who was appointed to guard them down to the land. And now these are the words which Gid said unto me, Behold, we did start to go down to the land of Zarahemla with our prisoners. And it came to pass that we did meet the spies of our armies, who had been sent out to watch the camp of the Lamanites. And they cried unto us, saying, Behold, the armies of the Lamanites are marching towards the city of Cumeni, and behold, they will fall upon them. They will fall upon them, yea, and will destroy our people. And it came to pass that our prisoners did hear their cries, which caused them to take courage, and they did rise up in rebellion against us. So the prisoners, the Lamanite prisoners that the Nephites had captured, heard the distress, saying, hey, this is really bad. This is what's happening right now, is that they're going to destroy us, is what they're saying. So now the Lamanite prisoners, POWs that the Nephites had, start to get courage because they're like, we're going to beat them. Great. So they start to rise up in rebellion against us. And it came to pass, because of their rebellion, we did cause that our swords should come upon them. And it came to pass that they did in a body run upon our swords, in the which the greater number of them were slain. So he's basically like, we just put our swords out, they ran to us to try to take us over, and we had to kill them. And the remainder of them broke through and fled from us. And behold, when they had fled, and we could not overtake them, we took our march with speed towards the city Cumeni. And behold, we did arrive in time that we might assist our brethren in preserving the city. And behold, we are again delivered out of the hands of our enemies, and blessed is the name of our God. For behold, it is he that has delivered us, yea, that has done this great thing for us. Now it came to pass that when I, Helaman, had heard these words of Gid, I was filled with exceeding joy because of the goodness of God in preserving us, that we might not all perish. Yea, and I trust that the souls of them who have been slain have entered into the rest of their God. That's where that eternal perspective comes in, and understanding that this life is eternal. Nothing ends. We see it as endings, but it's everlasting beginnings. Chapter 58. Helaman, Gid, and Teomner take the city of Manti by stratagem. The Lamanites withdraw. The sons of the people of Ammon are preserved as they stand fast in defense of their liberty and faith. About 63 to 62 BC. And behold, now it came to pass that our next object was to obtain the city of Manti. But behold, there was no way that we could lead them out of the city by our small bands. For behold, they remembered that which we had hitherto done, therefore we could not decoy them away from their strongholds. So he's like, we couldn't use our same playbook, we couldn't use our same play, because they remembered that we tricked them by walking with fake provisions with his little army of the boys into a neighboring city. So he's like, we got to get a new game plan. It's probably not as funny as I'm thinking of it in my mind right now. Sometimes situations will play out in my mind, and I kind of see it as if it's like a cartoon. So I'm just imagining these boys walking with their little fake provisions and being so convincing that they lead the most powerful Lamanite army. That's amazing. And they were so much more numerous than was our army that we durst not go forth and attack them in their strongholds. So 2 problems: they need to have a new playbook, and the other army is way more powerful than them. Yea, and it became expedient that we should employ our men to the maintaining those parts of the land which we had regained of our possessions. Therefore, it became expedient that we should wait. that we might receive more strength from the land of Zarahemla, and also a new supply of provisions. And it came to pass that I thus did send an embassy to the governor of our land, to acquaint him concerning the affairs of our people. And it came to pass that we did wait to receive provisions and strength from the land of Zarahemla. For behold, thus did profit us but little. For the Lamanites were also receiving great strength from day to day, and also many provisions, and thus were our circumstances at this period of time. And the Lamanites were sallying forth against us from time to time, resolving by stratagem to destroy us. Nevertheless, we could not come to battle with them because of their retreats and their strongholds. And it came to pass that we did wait in these difficult circumstances for the space of many months. That's a long time. Even until we were about to perish for the want of food. So they're starving, they don't have provisions, and they don't really have any options at this point. But it came to pass that we did receive food, which was guarded to us by an army of 2,000 men to our assistance. And this is all the assistance which we did receive to defend ourselves and our country from falling into the hands of our enemies, yea, to contend with an enemy which was innumerable. And now the cause of these our embarrassments, or the cause why they did not send more strength unto us, we knew not. Therefore we were grieved and also filled with fear, lest by any means the judgments of God should come upon our land to our overthrow and utter destruction. Therefore, now this is the verse that tells us how they were able to handle these hard things, how they got their strength. Therefore, we did pour out our souls in prayer to God, that he would strengthen us and deliver us out of the hands of our enemies, yea, and also give us strength that we might retain our cities and our lands and our possessions for the support of our people. Yea, and it came to pass that the Lord our God did visit us with assurances that he would deliver us, yea, insomuch that he did speak peace to our souls, and did grant unto us great faith, and did cause us that we should hope for our deliverance in him. And we did take courage with our small force, which we had received, and were fixed with the determination to conquer our enemies, and to maintain our lands, and our possessions, and our wives, and our children, and the cause of our liberty. So they're feeling completely discouraged and hopeless. They get a little bit of food. They're like, we don't really know why we didn't get more food than that. We wish we had more food and more provisions, but the way that they get their strength is by pouring out their whole souls to the Lord in prayer for strength, for deliverance, and then he gave them strength. I love that so much. They know in whom they trust. They know where they go for strength and for peace and for comfort and for courage and all the things that they need. And thus we did go forth with all our might against the Lamanites, who were in the city of Manti. And we did pitch our tents by the wilderness side, which was near to the city. And it came to pass on the morrow, that when the Lamanites saw that we were in the borders by the wilderness, which was near the city, that they sent out their spies round about us, that they might discover the number and the strength of our army. And it came to pass, when they saw that we were not strong, according to our numbers, and fearing that we should cut them off from their support, except they should come out to battle against us and kill us, supposing that they could easily destroy us with their numerous hosts. Therefore they began to make preparations to come out against us to battle. And when we saw that they were making preparations to come out against us, behold, I caused that Gid, with a small number of men, should secrete himself in the wilderness, and also that Teomner and a small number of men should secrete themselves also in the wilderness. Now Gid and his men were on the right, and the others on the left. And when they had thus secreted themselves, behold, I remained with the remainder of my army in that same place where we had first pitched our tents against the time that the Lamanites should come out to battle. And it came to pass that the Lamanites did come out with their numerous army against us. And when they had come and were about to fall upon us with the sword, I caused that my men, those who were with me, should retreat into the wilderness. And it came to pass that the Lamanites did follow after us with great speed, for they were exceedingly desirous to overtake us, that they might slay us. Therefore they did follow us into the wilderness, and we did pass by in the midst of Gid and Teomner, insomuch that they were not discovered by the Lamanites. And it came to pass that when the Lamanites had passed by, or when the army had passed by, Gid and Teomner did rise up from their secret places and did cut off the spies of the Lamanites, that they should not return to the city. Okay, so the Lamanite spies are coming. They really want to know the numbers and the strength of the Nephites. And something that's a really cool juxtaposition here is that the Nephites didn't care about the strength or the size of the Lamanite army because their strength did not come from their physical bodies. They knew that. Their strength came from God. So they were seeking very different ways of preparing for battle. They were not just trying to have spies go out to seek out the Lamanites and come back with, okay, there's this many, they're these ages, they have this much strength, this much weaponry. Oh no, it was completely different. The Nephites wanted to know the Lord. That's all they needed to know. And they wanted to show him that they were strictly obedient to everything that he said. I love that juxtaposition. I had to use it twice, right? Between the Lamanites and the Nephites and how they prepare for their battles. And it came to pass that when they had cut them off, they ran to the city and fell upon the guards who were left to guard the city, insomuch that they did destroy them and did take possession of the city. Now this was done because the Lamanites did suffer their whole army, save a few guards only, to be led away into the wilderness. And it came to pass that Gid and Teomner by this means had obtained possession of their strongholds. And it came to pass that we took our course, after having traveled much in the wilderness towards the land of Zarahemla. And when the Lamanites saw that they were marching towards the land of Zarahemla, they were exceedingly afraid, lest there was a plan laid to lead them on to destruction. They've had a few times where the Nephites have led them right into destruction, like they're saying. So this time they're a little bit gun-shy about following the Nephites. And behold, it was night, and they did pitch their tents, for the chief captains of the Lamanites had supposed that the Nephites were weary because of their march. And supposing that they had driven their whole army, therefore they took no thought concerning the city of Manti. Now it came to pass that when it was night, I caused that my men should not sleep, but that they should march forward by another way towards the land of Manti. And because of this, our march in the nighttime, behold, on the morrow we were beyond the Lamanites, insomuch that we did arrive before them at the city of Manti. And thus it came to pass that by this stratagem we did take possession of the city of Manti without the shedding of blood. And it came to pass that when the armies of the Lamanites did arrive near the city, and saw that we were prepared to meet them, they were astonished exceedingly and struck with great fear, insomuch that they did flee into the wilderness. So they were just afraid and ran away. And that's how they got the city of Manti. The Nephites got possession of the city of Manti. Yea, and it came to pass that the armies of the Lamanites did flee out of all this quarter of the land. But behold, they have carried with them many women and children out of the land. And those cities which had been taken by the Lamanites, all of them are at this period of time in our possession. And our fathers and our women and our children are returning to their homes, all save it be those who have been taken prisoners and carried off by the Lamanites. But behold, our armies are small to maintain so great a number of cities and so great possessions. I love it because Helaman is constantly admitting how much they rely on the Lord. He's like, you guys, I know I'm telling you all these great things that we were able to do, but we're just small. We're young and we're small. Now, verse 33 tells us exactly why they were able to have those things, and Helaman knows it. But behold, we trust in our God, who has given us victory over those lands, insomuch that we have obtained those cities and those lands which were our own. So not for 1 second is he claiming any credit. He's the leader of this whole army. He's not saying, you know what, we knew what to do, or we were able to just figure it out. No, he is constantly giving credit where it is due, giving it back to the Lord, and acknowledging the weakness of them just alone, just their physical strength. Now we do not know the cause that the government does not grant us more strength. Neither do those men who came up unto us know why we have not received greater strength. That's a good way of saying we really need help and they're not giving it to us. We don't know why. but we really need help. Behold, we do not know, but what ye are unsuccessful, and ye have drawn away the forces into that quarter of the land. If so, we do not desire to murmur. He's like, we're not trying to complain, but it would be really nice to have a little bit more food and more help. And if it is not so, behold, we fear that there is some faction in the government, that they do not send more men in our assistance. For we know that they are more numerous than that which they have sent. So now he's giving them grace to be like, you know what, I'm acknowledging we don't know exactly what's going on with our government right now. They could be under attack too. And if it is not so, behold, we fear that there is some faction. Okay. But behold, it mattereth not. I love him. We trust God will deliver us, notwithstanding the weakness of our armies, yea, and deliver us out of the hands of our enemies. Behold, this is the 29th year, in the latter end, and we are in the possession of our lands. And the Lamanites have fled to the land of Nephi. And those sons of the people of Ammon, of whom I have so highly spoken, are with me in the city of Manti. And the Lord has supported them, yea, and kept them from falling by the sword, insomuch that even one soul has not been slain. But behold, they have received many wounds. Nevertheless, they stand fast in that liberty wherewith God has made them free. It's all back to God. And I love this too, because God is the one who makes us free. This is why we know that our rights come from God, and our founding fathers knew that too. Certain inalienable rights from our Creator. They are strict to remember the Lord their God from day to day. Yea, they do observe to keep his statutes and his judgments and his commandments continually. And their faith is strong in the prophecies concerning that which is to come. Is our faith strong concerning the prophecies of that which is to come? It better be, because they're coming. And it's up to us to be on the Lord's team, right? To be on his side and to choose the faith over fear. Especially by studying the words of these amazing people in the Book of Mormon, that were facing completely hopeless circumstances and were able to persevere through the strength of the Lord. There's so much power in the scriptures for us today. They are written for us today. And now, my beloved brother Moroni, may the Lord our God, who has redeemed us and made us free, keep you continually in his presence, yea, and may he favor this people, even that ye may have success in obtaining the possession of all that which the Lamanites have taken from us, which was for our support. And now behold, I close mine epistle. I am Helaman, the son of Alma. That is such an incredible letter. That's 2 chapters of this letter from Helaman to Moroni. And now we're going to hear from Moroni.